Hello, and welcome back to this weekly session of Heartfulness. We've been running a few sessions over the last several weeks, and today we're going to deal with or talk about something which we use all our life, waking life, which is our mind. How does the mind really work? And let's try to demystify that and get into that one level to see if we can get a better handle on it. I just want to start with a story, my own story when I was a kid. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And as always, in the evenings, one day I was playing out in the streets with a bunch of boys. And I recall that I did fall down, but I just got up, dusted myself, and continued playing for the next hour and a half. When I came back home that night, I recall my mom, she watched me come in, but then she started looking at somewhere at my knee and she asked me, "What happened?" And I said, "What happened?" And I just looked down at my knee, and then I realized that when I'd fallen down, I'd scraped myself, scraped my knee pretty badly, and blood had oozed out of my wound, and it had actually oozed out in multiple trickles all over my leg. Okay, and because I had continued to play for an hour or two, it had dried up even. But the moment I saw that, I could feel that my knee was throbbing with pain. And I recall, holding my knee at that time and started crying. In fact, the funny part is that I had almost forgotten this incident, but then I recall this, it came up as a flash of memory 20, 30 years later. But then I had been practicing meditation for a number of years by then. And I kind of caught on to that thought and it kind of set me thinking and asked myself some questions. First is hey, what really happened there? Right? I fell down and my knee got scraped. So obviously there must have been pain. But why is it I did not feel it? In fact, I was just playing just as I always was. No change. And when my mom pointed it out to me, and when I saw the scraped knee and the blood, why is it suddenly I could feel the throbbing pain? And why is it I held my knee and started crying? And the third question it raised was that, hey, what is this pain and what is suffering? Right? Are they the same? Or are they different? Right? It really, I spent a lot of time introspecting on this, right? And I developed my own point of view in terms of uh, what really happened. My understanding goes like this, that I was definitely in pain after I fell down, but since my attention was not on the knee at all, I didn't even know, I was ignorant. It really had zero effect on me. So in that time, when the hour and a half I was playing after I scraped my knee, there was pain, but no suffering. And then when my mom pointed out, once my attention went to my pain or the problem, suddenly my mind it was gripped by the idea. And it could also then, the attention, it could also now feel the pain. And once my attention was there, it seemed as if I also started suffering. Right? Now, pain is what is there in the body or mind for that matter. And our experience of pain is what I feel is suffering. If you don't feel the pain because your attention is elsewhere, you might have pain, but you don't even suffer. But even if it's a very little pain, but if you're paying a lot of attention, you could suffer a lot. So that I believe is the relationship between pain and suffering. So it kind of brings to this one central idea that the thought, attention is very powerful. That wherever I pay attention, wherever my thought goes, it's as if energy flows. What I mean is that thoughts by themselves, the mind by itself has no power. Actions or experiences or situations by themselves, have nothing. But the moment I start attending to it and start giving it importance, it seems to almost slowly get bigger and bigger, where at some point in time it becomes so big that I seem powerless. When you talk about mental health, when you talk about depression as an extreme example for that matter, what is it? It's nothing but like, the person has a problem, but they've been thinking about it, they've been brooding over it, and they've gotten into some kind of cobweb, right, where they're not able to extricate themselves from the situation. And they're so hopelessly tied up themselves in knots that they're not able to come out of it, and that perhaps is depression, perhaps worse. So it really brings me to two things, right? There are a lot of people who talk about mind over matter. The first hour and a half, like, when I had pain but no suffering, I think that's a good example of mind over matter, right? So basically, you do have a problem. Okay, it could be a mountain, but since you're not paying attention, it becomes a molehill. But I think the reverse is also true. Sometimes we tend to make even our small problems, we tend to magnify it by giving it a lot of attention. And this is what people call it, right? Making a mountain out of a molehill, right? In this case, our own attention is feeding the matter, okay, and it really, I think our mind, like, gets powerless, right, and the situation really starts having a grip on us. So this first point is really about, like, the importance of paying attention or not paying attention. Now the question here is that, like, okay, I can pay attention on something, but how can I not pay an attention on something, right, when something is happening? This is an important question to answer. Now, the only way that we can be inattentive to something is by making a decision to attend to something else. I'll repeat that, right? So the only way we can not attend to something is by attending to something else, which we deem in our mind as more important. How is this relevant to meditation? In meditation, first of all, we're learning to train ourselves, train our mind to remain focused on an object of our decision. That's one. The second thing is that, well, let's say that there is a situation which is disturbing, right? How to be inattentive? Take 5-10 seconds, even with your eyes open, pause, step back, and try to center your attention on your heart with an idea that your heart, the light in the heart, is attracting your attention. Even a small fraction of your attention, which is retained in the heart, it helps you not get hopelessly tie yourself in knot with whatever situation is happening. And you will find a huge difference in retaining a sense of objectivity. The second I want to go through is this idea that, yes, we have thoughts, we have attention, it's all right, right? But there is something called a negative thought and a positive thought, right? It's as if when we walk, right, there's a fork in the road, it goes left and right. Like that, like, the mind, typically scientists are telling us, right, neuroscientists are telling us that it has a tendency to look more at the negative than the positive. But then it can make a huge difference. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say we're faced with a tough situation, right? I might say, okay, this is going to be difficult, but let's see what we can do, right? That's a positive way of approaching and trying to solve the problem. But if I say, oh my God, like this has happened, right? What am I going to do? It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be hopeless. If I start with that, right, it might snowball into something like, which I can never get out of. So how we start, how our own disposition towards positivity or negativity can make a huge difference in our experience of life and life itself. Now, let me play this small clip. It's a video from this movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? And if you're searching in the internet, in YouTube, you can just search for Emoto, E-M-O-T-O, and message from water. You can click on this in the deck, but I'm just going to switch over to the video itself and play it and record it. It's just a 2-minute clip.
Exhibit comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto. Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown, except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
So, you can listen to the clip. Like I said, you can go to search for Emoto, message from water. What the bleep do we know? And you can see it. Essentially, what it's talking about is intent, positivity, and negativity. And thoughts also have an impact on matter. And in this case, they've captured it on some microscopic photography. What it means, we don't know, but it seems to be communicating to us. And the final question is a very, very potent question, in the clip. The person asks, right, if this is the effect it has on water, what is the effect it has on us as human beings? Because we know that 90% of our body is made out of water, right? So when we think about our thoughts, right, there are positive thoughts, there are negative thoughts, there are neutral thoughts, and we're all made up of a bundle of thoughts and emotions, qualities. So is there a way by which we can deweed ourselves of negativity and infuse positivity? Because remember, it's really what we have within us that germinates as positive or negative thoughts. Why is it that I react negatively to a situation? Is because I have negativity within me. If I had positivity within me, then I would respond positively, okay, to a situation. So really speaking, we shouldn't be worried about the weeds that grow, but we should be worried about tilling the ground and removing negativity or the weeds, the seeds of the weeds, from the ground itself. How do you do that? And because everything that we experience begins with a thought. And we believe that is really what meditation does, right? Particularly the cleaning aspect, right? Because we are able to remove the emotional impressions and the emotional baggage of our past thoughts and actions. So we go ahead and experience. It could either be meditation or cleaning. Go ahead, give the experience, ask them how they feel. And let's close off with a recap, okay, on how the mind works. There are two key thoughts today. One is the point of attention. That whatever we attend to, that thing becomes bigger, okay? It gains energy from our attention. So it's important what to attend to and what not to attend to. And we did say the only way of not attending is to attend to something else. The second one is in terms of positivity and negativity, okay, having a big impact on us and the need for cleaning. So what are its implications for our experience of life and life itself? First is, right, it definitely has a very clear impact on our mental and emotional mood, our disposition, our nature itself. The second one is at a deeper level, okay, it can result in efficiency, effectiveness. If we are focused, we don't attend to unnecessary things. We attend to what needs to be attended to. I mean, our whole efficiency and focus is going to be absolutely at a different level. And when that happens, obviously, it should create a change in the difference, a palpable difference in the outcome and results as well. So that's how this inner change can really help transform our outer lives and outcomes as well. Thank you. The call is really towards more regular practice. These are micro habits. Okay, try and do it regularly and you can see the results yourself. And really speaking, heartfulness we talked about as a journey in inner transformation. Okay, that's fine as a journey, but what is the goal? The goal is really like, it can be summed up as personal mastery. Me mastering myself and all the elements within me in terms of body, mind, and heart, right? And that is really what heartfulness takes us towards. In some sense, right, it gives us a sense of direction to work with ourselves and become something better. Thank you so much. We'll meet you next week. Bye-bye.